So for example, if Meta, for example, wants to give work to another company, then they are the ones who are stipulating like what should be done and how the work should be provided. It's why, like, as she was saying, the example she was saying, she said that the person who's providing the work to the BPO, they actually pay the worker, the BPO well, but then when it comes to the worker just gets paid peanuts by the BPO. But then, what was the consequence after the, the provider of the job? What was the consequence, or what action did they take the moment that they found out that this BPO was doing what it was doing to their workers? So we're also trying to push for this code of conduct mostly to the providers of the work. And if they do adopt it, then we believe that it can, help streamline this process even with BPOs and such. Yeah. What was the other question? I'm sorry, I think I addressed the harassment and yeah. Oh yeah. That can also be done. Yeah. I think we can have a conversation about that. Yeah. Another question? Follow-up question?
Not a follow-up question, but because you're so pressed for time, and Jacqueline is saying she has a lot of input, we can just arrange a separate meeting, even if it's virtual, so that we can fully interact with the document. Because again, this is draft 0. We want to go to draft 1 and then just perfect the document as we are moving on. Yeah, so that is why I just wanted to put that comment out there. There's also a question in the comments. I'm going to pass the mic to Juliet so that she can read it out.
So the question is, does the code of conduct make a difference between employed and self-employed workers?
Majorly, we classify the employees in the code of conduct as BPO workers and as platform workers. So we did not have any explanation as to employees, like the tiers of employment. We did not have that. But I think we are going to share the document again, as we said, and people can add as much comments as possible so that we can now have a draft 1 of the document, which is going to be inclusive of all the comments that are going to be made in that document.
Yeah, another question? Maybe a question from the chat? Oh, we are done. Okay. Okay.
Hello. Yeah. So, how are you?
Yeah, fine.
Most of the online platforms or other companies have a non-compete clause. Yeah, I haven't heard you talking about that. Where you, after leaving a certain job, you're not supposed to work for competitors for a certain period of month.
I think that has been captured in the contract that Njeri had presented earlier. But if, I don't know, we can get advice from Jacqueline if it also needs to be captured in the code of conduct. Yes. Competition laws, they are quite complex, especially when it comes to, I think, workers' rights and definitely rights. I think it's a matter of weighing how to capture the same, but also, why are you capturing there? Is it wavering any right as a worker, or from what angle that could mean in terms of working conditions? Because I think we have, even in our competition laws in Kenya, there's always that issue in terms of that you cannot work for a competitor for a certain
duration of time. So how are you going to capture it such that it's about the wavering of rights? So it's not really about the competition law, but it's the non-compete clauses that waiver your rights in terms of access to any other thing as a worker. So I think that's what I would think about it in terms of putting it there, but I think it's just an issue of thinking of how to craft it.
Let me just ask a question. You tried clarifying that, but I have an issue with it also, where like if these companies terminate you, they never offer something like mental support, maybe for like 3 months or for a certain period of time. Then why is it an issue when they, lay you off, you working for a different company again? Why do we have that kind of, let me say, stipulation where like I stop working with you, then you have limited my access to a different job that, looks literally like yours for a certain period of time, and I'm not contracted to you?
I think there's a history to that, and some of the, not even like some, competition law basically is to protect capital, to protect the company. So at all, any other justification in terms of whether you'll be unemployed and all that. So they do not necessarily look at those aspects. And that's why I was saying that if we were to bring like an issue of the competition laws, from what angle are we looking at it? Are you talking about wavering your right to access employment? Or what kind of right is it wavering? And how can you argue around it when it comes to now? Because competition laws, as I said, they were basically to protect companies. So it does not matter whether you are unemployed or whether it's interfering to your other rights. So the minimum is that it's just protecting the company. So I think there's a way to draft it in terms of situations where these issues should be waived, the anti-compete laws. I've not thought about it, but I think there's a way that that can be crafted. I know it would be a very difficult one to negotiate, especially with companies around it, but I think it's worth looking at it from a rights perspective.
Is it a soft way, if I may say, for lack of a better term, a soft way of repackaging modern slavery? Because I can't sacrifice my own family in the name of non-compete clause. That is modern slavery, basically, for lack of a better term.
I think also it goes like way, like competition laws go back in the days, and I haven't really looked at competition laws vis-a-vis workers' rights and modern slavery and all that, but I feel like this is something that can be thought around, and how to capture it in the code of conduct to prevent issues. So if you say, for example, you can waive these competition laws if it is issues to do with modern slavery, if it's an issue of access to employment, if it's an issue. So as long as the competition laws are applied or in this context, then they are not valid. So I think there's a way that we can actually, you've made me to think in a certain direction that I think we should.
I asked that question because there are countries that sign modern slavery laws in their countries, and yet when they come to other countries, they do the same. So if that has to happen, then we also need to think from that angle.
Slavery abroad, but not slavery.
Yeah, that is why we don't need to repackage it here in Africa. Yeah.
I think we can just end this session here. We can have a virtual interaction if conversations. We have like so much burning conversations and so many things we feel like we've not addressed. Yeah, so I think Geoffrey can.
Yeah, just to clarify before I let Geoffrey speak. So we didn't make the documents editable because a lot of things might happen with the document. So if you go to the events page, put all your questions and comments under QA, And then to access the documents, it is under media. So just go there. And then also, there's also a donate link in case you want to support our cause.
Yeah. And
Yes.
and also in case you want to see the photos of the session today, they are also there in the drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under photos. So everything is on the events page. So whatever you feel like doing, interacting about this event, you'll find it there. Yeah, thank you.